Today I had another little harvest from my garden. Nothing too special, just some cucumbers, fresh mint, and a little amaranth. But honestly, these simple harvests are some of the things I enjoy most about gardening. Because gardening isn't always about having a huge harvest. Some days I might only pick a few cucumbers, a handful of herbs, or a small basket of greens. But when I grow them myself, take care of them every day, and finally bring them into the kitchen, it just feels different. This morning, I went outside to take a quick look around the garden, and the first thing I noticed was the cucumber plants. From a distance, they didn't look like anything special, but once I started moving the leaves around, I found quite a few cucumbers growing underneath. Some were still tiny. Others were already big enough to harvest. I usually don't wait until cucumbers get too large before picking them. I prefer them when they're still young and firm. They're crisp, fresh, and just the right size. And when I see a cucumber looking this good, I just have to pick it. Growing cucumbers is actually pretty interesting. You have to keep an eye on them almost every day. Sometimes a cucumber can be tiny one day, and just a few days later, it has grown much bigger. If you don't check regularly, you can easily miss the perfect time to harvest. So whenever I'm in the garden, I like to look through the leaves carefully. If a cucumber is ready, I pick it. If it's still small, I leave it on the vine and let it grow. I really enjoy lifting each cucumber up, checking it, and then cutting it from the plant. It doesn't have to be a huge harvest. Just seeing the cucumbers I planted and cared for sitting in my basket, that alone makes me happy. And this is the first harvest of the day. Not a huge basket of cucumbers, but definitely enough to enjoy with a meal. I think this is one of the most interesting things about growing food yourself. When you buy a cucumber at the store, you probably just see it as a cucumber, something to bring home and eat. But when you grow it yourself, you start noticing everything: the little seed, the first tiny leaves, the plant getting bigger, the vines climbing, the flowers appearing. Then one tiny cucumber starts forming, and eventually you get to pick it with your own hands. Suddenly, that little cucumber feels much more special. After harvesting the cucumbers, I moved over to another part of the garden. This is where I grow my mint. Mint is one of my favorite herbs to grow because it grows so quickly. And when it's time to harvest, I don't have to pull up the whole plant. I simply cut some of the larger stems and young shoots. The new growth looks really fresh and green, and just a few cuts give me enough mint to use in the kitchen. I usually don't harvest too heavily at once. I choose the stronger stems and leave the smaller ones to keep growing. That way I can harvest some today and still have plenty left for the next time. I've learned that gardening isn't always about taking everything at once. Sometimes, harvesting a little at a time is much better. You get something to use today, while the plant keeps growing for tomorrow. And that's what I really like about having a small garden. I don't need to harvest everything at once. I can simply take what I need and let the plants continue growing. And just look at this mint. The smell is amazing. As soon as I touch the leaves, that fresh minty scent comes right up. That's another reason I love growing herbs at home. If I only need a little bit, I can simply walk outside and cut a few fresh leaves. I don't have to buy a whole bunch from the store and worry about using it all before it goes bad. After harvesting the mint, I continued checking the vegetable garden. And today, the amaranth was ready to harvest too. Amaranth is actually one of the vegetables I find quite easy to grow. When the plants are healthy, they can grow surprisingly quickly. For these plants, I like to harvest the young shoots and tender leaves first. I don't pull up the entire plant. I simply cut the tops and leave the base in the soil. The smaller plants can continue growing. That way I get some fresh greens today, and the remaining plants have more time to grow. This is one of my favorite things about growing vegetables this way. I don't need to harvest everything in one day. I just take enough for a meal. Today I have cucumbers, some fresh mint, and a nice basket of amaranth. None of these things are particularly fancy, but when I put them all together, it actually makes a pretty nice little harvest. And the best part is knowing that everything came from my own garden. Of course, gardening isn't always as easy as it looks. There are days when seeds don't germinate. Sometimes a plant grows well and then suddenly gets attacked by pests. Sometimes you take care of a plant for weeks, but it still doesn't grow the way you hoped. And sometimes you simply have to pull the whole plant out and start again. If you only watch the beautiful harvest moments, gardening can look very easy. Plant a seed, give it some water, and suddenly you have vegetables. But in reality, there's a lot more behind that little basket of food. There are all the days of watering, checking the leaves, looking for pests, pruning, taking care of the soil, and sometimes a little disappointment too. That's why I appreciate these small harvests. They feel like a little reward for all the time and effort spent taking care of the garden. And I'm not trying to make my garden look perfect all the time. If I see an old leaf, I remove it. If I find pests, I deal with them. If a plant isn't doing well, I replace it. As long as the garden keeps growing, I'm happy. After everything was harvested, I brought it all together. The cucumbers, the fresh mint, and the amaranth. Looking at everything I picked today, I'm pretty happy with it. It's not a huge harvest, but it's enough. And maybe that's exactly why I enjoy gardening so much. It's not because I get a huge harvest every day. It's because every time I walk outside, something has changed. Today, it's the cucumbers. Tomorrow, maybe there will be a new batch of greens. A few days from now, the mint might have grown even more. And little by little, this small garden always has something new to show me. So if you're growing vegetables at home, don't feel like you need a huge garden. You don't. A few containers on a balcony are enough. A small raised bed is enough. Even a few cucumber plants and some herbs are enough. The important thing is to start. Take care of them. Watch them grow. And one day, you'll be able to walk outside, pick something you grew with your own hands, and bring it straight into your kitchen. That feeling is really worth it. And that's where I'll end today's gardening session. A few cucumbers, some fresh mint, and a basket of amaranth. Not a huge harvest, but it came from this little garden that I've been taking care of. And for me, that's more than enough. Thanks so much for spending some time in the garden with me today. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, and I hope your garden keeps growing beautifully.